Pokémon A Budding Dream just dropped, and it is one of the finest pieces of Pokémon animation ever crafted. Gorgeous visuals, a charming story that turns grown men into sobbles, and a very likable female protagonist. These are all great things, but there is a whole lot more to it. So why does A Budding Dream hit different? Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, it's Charles. How are you today? You may have heard of Poketoons, a new series of self-contained animated shorts experimenting with different story setups and animation styles that is being published on the Pokemon Kids TV Japan YouTube channel, because that definitely sounds like the best place to publish them. The first episode, Scraggy and Mimikyu, was released on June 4th, 2020, but we did not get a second episode until the Pancham Who Wants to Be a Hero, which came out nearly a year later on May 5th, 2021, thanks Corsola Measles. And while the first episode was a funny throwback to Disney-style shorts, and the second episode was a touching animated storyboard, and both were as pleasant as a plump Piplup, the third episode is a different beast altogether, and its power level is certainly over 9,000. Firstly, Tsubomi. Tsubomi is the name of a famous Japanese folk song, a defunct Yuri manga magazine, a mega popular actress of the Don't Show Your Mom variety, Mob's childhood friend, and most importantly, the main character of this tidy little Pokemon anime. The word Tsubomi also happens to mean bud. Not bud in the way that that dude at your high school calls you, even though you are definitely not buds and you would actually like to see a tree fall on him, but bud as in flower bud. A word that in Japanese carries a lot of the same symbolism that it does in English, to metaphorically express the idea of things beginning or getting ready to blossom into something beautiful. And the title of this show happens to be Yume no Tsubomi. Yume means dream, no is a possessive particle, and as we mentioned, Tsubomi means bud and is also the name of the show's protagonist. As such, you could interpret the title in a couple of ways and translate it as a budding dream to indicate that the main character's dream or adventure is just beginning, or even dreaming Tsubomi to indicate that Tsubomi herself is a dreamer gazing towards the future. Either way, the themes of dreams beginning and dreams being chased is at the core of the show, and you will feel that as you watch it. Now, I knew this episode was going to be a dunk of the highest dunkage as soon as I heard who was behind it, as the project was handled by Studio Colorido, the same studio that slugged Pokemon Twilight Wings out of the park, not to mention that Badman Shingo Yamashita of Twilight Wings and Jujutsu Kaisen fame was directing it, with Inori Minase, aka everyone's best waifu, voicing the main character, and so on. But why exactly is A Budding Dream so fantastic? Why have so many viewers been left with teary eyes? And why is the show resonating deeply with Pokemon fans? Today's plan is to 1. Introduce the concept, 2. Walk through a portion of the episode together to see how the genius is being applied, and 3. Break down 3 reasons why fans are loving it. And as always, it will be a fun time, so kindly request your weird fish to sit in a tree and press the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's jump right in. In short, the story of A Budding Dream follows a wannabe Pokemon trainer named Tsubomi, who dreams of becoming a world-class Pokemon trainer like her parents. However, her mother does not think she is responsible enough to set out alone, that in spite of her attempts to prove herself, a kid like her who is not in tune with her surroundings will only end up in terrible danger. Through this, we see a clash of perspectives between someone who has lived the dream and all its challenges, and knows how important it is to be responsible and prepared, and that of someone who wants to live the dream, but is yet to understand the challenges that will come along with it, and who is almost certainly very underprepared. I mean, she can't even stack dishes, and she has soap on her nose. You simply can't trust someone with soap on their nose. This parent-child clash is a recurring theme in the dialogue, the visual cues, and the artistic contrast between the young, peppy Tsubomi and her aging parents, along with her dad's sleepy old Charizard. It is also something that you will see mirrored in the relationships of the Pokemon in the show, and it is by no means an afterthought, like someone's mom appearing out of nowhere several seasons into an anime to upend a meaningful single dad story for absolutely no reason. And honestly, you could easily see yourself in Tsubomi's situation. In fact, you have almost certainly been in her situation, unless you are a tree or a Gandalf. And if you are a bit older, then I imagine you will be able to relate to her parents' feelings as well. As a Pokemon anime episode, this holistic focus on family, including parents instead of just kids, with dads who went out for milk and never came back, gives it a very unique feel from the get-go, and the visuals only make the show even more distinct. To put it simply, the show looks absolutely stunning. Whether it be the consistently bangers shot composition, trippy camera pans and rotations, the slick color scripting that layers the narrative with emotion, or the smallest details that will really stand out on your second watch. Pokemon Twilight Wings gave off similarly dreamy vibes, and it was gorgeous. But the characters in A Budding Dream feel even more dynamic thanks to the abstract art style. Tsubomi's face is exceptionally expressive. Everything moves with a sense of weight and purpose, and the dad derp faces and the dad bods are very dadly. A Blooming Dream is a treat for the eyes, but the way that the character designs, the slick color theory, and the animation come together to enhance the plot is what sets it all off. So before we dig into the 3 reasons why this show hits different, let's break down a scene together to see all of this mumbo jumbo in action. As you might expect, Tsubomi gets pretty pissed off at her mom after being told she is too careless to venture out alone, and early on in the episode she blows all of her allowance on Pokeballs and other goodies at the local Pokemart in order to set out on a quest without her parents' blessing. Sounds like a great idea. Not only does the excitement of a brand new adventure make for delicious storytelling in and of itself, but the visuals really do take you along for the ride. At the beginning of her adventure, Tsubomi's face and mannerisms reflect an attitude of determination, optimism, and energy, and spastic pupils syndrome. And likewise, the background colors are warm and inviting, the brightly colored Pokemon in the foreground make things exciting, and oh my god, do not mess with Victory Bell. Of course, unlike Magic Hands Go, who vacuums up Pokemon as if they were cornflakes on the carpet, Tsubomi's adventure does not start off so swimmingly, and she fails to make even a single catch in the forest. Instead, she discovers how difficult becoming a Pokemon trainer actually is, and as the sun begins to go down, she also discovers how terrifying and dangerous the Pokemon world can be, which is proof that while moms sometimes say some very stupid things, you should listen to them at least 68% of the time, or else you may end up on the receiving end of a National Geographic documentary like this cute little Nidoran when Albert the Arbok slithers out from his snake house to add purple crumpets to the day's afternoon tea set. This is an unsettling scene, even more so because the show's color scripting has shifted to enhance the emotional response of viewers, moving from the warm greens and bright optimism of the forest adventure's beginning into subdued purples and shadows to evoke a sense of darkness, isolation, fear, and emo Gengar girl Instagram profiles. As they say over in Austria, the feeling of dread mounts, comes to a head, and tragically, Nidoran is turned into little more than a Nidoranch and bacon pasta salad. Or at least, that is what would have happened if Tsubomi hadn't leaped into action and pulled off a clever trick by whipping her last Pokeball at Arbok to pull it inside, buying Nidoran a precious moment to run away before Arbok breaks out and comes after them like a Machoke in heat. Once Arbok lays down the bum hammer, Nidoran is quickly incapacitated and Tsubomi is left vulnerable and alone, face to face with the Jessie Snake. Tsubomi's horrified face really sets off the intensity of this predator-prey situation. The musical score amplifies our queasy feelings as the Arbok looms closer, and the payoff is extra sweet when Nidoran manages to collect itself and repay Tsubomi's bravery by DBZing Purple Snake number 2, bottom first, into a tree. Arbok slithers its way into the underbrush, and warmth and rich colors seep back into the episode as the color script bends the atmosphere into one of tranquility as Tsubomi and her new friend bond in the light of dusk at the edge of a pond in the forest. This was just a quick overview of a portion of the episode to give you a taste for the show, but it gets even better. So I will leave the rest of the plot details for you to enjoy yourself when you watch the episode. But before you do, here are the 3 big reasons why I think this show is really resonating with viewers. Firstly, I think the portrayal of Tsubomi's budding dreams brought a lot of older viewers back into their youths, an era of freedom, carefree adventure, doing funny things in the forest, and big dreams. Personally, I found myself coming down with the shivers and a bad case of the Pidgey bumps several times throughout the episode as Tsubomi's budding dreams invited me to reflect on my own very first Pokemon adventure as well as my own intercontinental escapades. That made me feel pretty nice. But at the same time, as we age, we really do have less and less truly new experiences, and very few of them are free of this sense of burden. So this episode evokes feelings of nostalgia, hopefulness, and melancholy in older viewers all at the same time, and I think that is something that makes it very special to people. Secondly, it actually explores the reality of the post-adventure through Tsubomi's parents, who appear to be long retired from the exciting world of competitive Pokemon battles. We see snippets of their adventurous youth, but it is clear that they have left that world behind to settle down into the humdrum of everyday life. They've derped up and milked up, and it is now their turn to pass on the torch with caution. And at least to me, there is something about coming home after the adventure that is more frightening than setting out on an adventure to begin with. To put the quest in the back pocket and focus on creating a stable environment within which to raise the next generation. That is something wonderful, but also very personally oppressive by nature. And whether you find that next step frightening or comforting, I think that the holistic family cycle depicted in A Budding Dream fleshes out the world in a way that the main anime series simply does not. Not to mention that the story of Tsubomi's parents and how they met, independent of the impact on Tsubomi, was something special all on its own. Thirdly, Tsubomi is the kind of hero that the Pokemon anime really needs, and people love her for it. Not only is she really likable, but in A Budding Dream we saw her as a brand new adventurer, going through some of her earliest and most important character transformations. By comparison, Ash Ketchum has been a predominantly static character for years now, and the majority of kids picking up the show have never seen a lead character start from zero, full of hope and budding dreams to grow into. It has been over 20 years since Ash Ketchum transformed from an idiot beginner into a fairly competent trainer and was thereafter written into a floating timeline. And there are certainly elements of Ash that still make him interesting to this day, but I do think that the Pokemon universe is more than big enough to accommodate another standalone anime series with a new hero for a new generation. Fourthly, I cheated. Everything about A Budding Dream is quite simply really good. From the story beats to the art style to the soulful, powerful moments peppered throughout the episode, this is what a high production value episode of Pokemon can look like. And holy hoppips, it looks as slick as a Slurpuff. We've talked about this before, but the opportunity for a 25 episode seasonal Pokemon anime that pulls out all the stops is something that I think just has so much potential to ignite a new wave of hype for the Pokemon franchise. And I can only hope that we will see that concept come into fruition at some point. Of course, the entire point of the Poketoon series is to experiment with new ideas and new animation styles and to see how people respond to them. So if you, like me, dream of seeing more stories like A Budding Dream, then the best thing you can do is head over to watch the episode on YouTube, share it with your friends online, and spread the hype as much as you can. Because yes, while I think that some of its most appealing elements are actually quite subtle, people are loving this episode, and it is very, very good. A callback to the childhoods of older viewers, an exploration of the post-adventure, and a new hero for a new generation. Beyond being an absolute beauty of a show, that is why A Budding Dream hits different. Well friends, thank you for sticking through to the end. I absolutely love A Budding Dream. But how about you? What do you think of the episode? Do you love the story and art style? What do you think of Tsubomi? And what other stories would you like to see told in the world of Pokemon anime? I'm curious what you think. Well, don't forget to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram. I hope every one of you has a wonderful week, and as always, let's chat.